a collective.
Chase Harrison and I do things. This is Brett Conrads. He also does things.
Yeah, we do stuff. It's cool.
And this is Cameron Ward, and he also does things.
They met at orientation, I believe, and I met them both probably at convocation. Would have been the first time that I met them. Chase approached me in Shaler Chapel, and he's just like, "Hi, I'm
I like
Chase
the Beatles. Do you like the Beatles? I like the Beatles.
But so that was fun, and then we all lived in Liberty Hall.
In the gamut of popular rock music, there's one figure that stands supreme. They've just influenced everything that we've, like any of us do. Everything, directly or indirectly, happens because of us. And I guess this is my really fancy, to me, words saying way of we're playing a Beatles cover now.
Yeah, Brett just really he likes the business side of music, and he likes the marketing, and that's one of his favorite things. So I don't know, he's very optimistic when it comes to that kind of stuff, and he's funny. He's fun to be around. He adds a quirkiness to the group that is just I don't know where else we'd get it. He's quirky.
Yeah. I guess in terms of like Cameron, gosh, I don't know. Yeah, he's optimistic in different ways. So like he's just like,
Everything's gonna be okay.
Everything's gonna be okay.
I've heard that phrase from him more than like any other thing ever.
Other than that, interesting sense of humor. A little different than I'm used to, and it's
so
funny.
inventive.
It's either dark or it's a total dad joke. I tell dad jokes and anti-jokes too. Those are great. For the aesthetic.
Oh, beautiful.
Chase, his personality is very eclectic. There's different facets about it.
The good thing about this cast is I can still hold on to knives. So if you ever twist my arm again, I'll be sure to put up a fight.
He likes kind of experiencing new things. He likes with music especially. He likes just always having new input. He always has to have things coming in, new input on music and media. It's just so he really likes to stay connected, and that can be a good thing.
Yeah, I would agree. Just Chase is just, I don't know, it's kind of quirky. He's a quirky kid, and that's okay.
We are all quirky. I mentioned that Brett was quirky, but we are all quirky.
I would say that's our biggest theme as a band. We're just quirky people. So
Brett is very he's like a really cool guy. There's like a darkness to him that I think that's very entrancing.
Dark, mysterious.
There's a dark, mysterious side to him, or a hoodlum side to him, if you will.
Yeah, I'll be perfect, Brett. City lights never look so blue.
Why did you do that? Well, I mean, it was before, and now it's just not anymore, Brett. I don't know what to tell you. Oh.
But he's very fun to be around. I can he's very good at like you can explain to him something and then he understands what you mean without fail, and I think that's really good for band communication. Like I can say something like the guitars they're so ringy, they sound very ringy, and he just has to think for a second. He's like, oh yeah, I understand exactly what you mean. I know how to fix that. We can definitely work on that. And that's really great. That's really great to have. Cameron, as I have talked about, he's wacky. I think I like how we've gone from like he's pretty funny to he's hilarious to he's just a crazy guy. He's a wild and crazy guy. But it's just I like him a lot. I like them both a lot.
We're gonna do the chorus and then it stops. Chorus and then stop after it's done.
Just like usual.
Just like usual. After the introduction music. Anything else in particular that we want to go back and look at? I thought everything went really, really, really well.
Well, the first time we played together, actually, we weren't really playing together. I had written a song and recorded it in the studio, and I said I wanted to make a music video for it, and I needed 2 people to stand in because I had recorded all of it, and I was like, well, Chase plays the bass and Cameron plays the drums. I bet they could do the parts, so we got them in, and that's kind of how that went. And then
Brett took a songwriting class for Interim, and he needed people to play with him for the concert at the end of Interim. So he asked us to play with him, and played his songs, and people loved it, and we started a Facebook page after that. But it was actually, we kind of had the idea to have a band when we actually approached after the show. We were in Liberty.
Yeah.
We would, like to hear more music, and maybe, it'd be cool if you guys played shows on campus. And
It was that's how sort of the idea of the collective came to be, the Liberty Hawk Collective.
Hey, catch.
Never mind.
Oh! That was beautiful.
The more time we spend together, the more we know each other, both personally and musically, and that makes us tighter as a group.
I'd say in total, we've probably spent around 50 to 100 hours just in a tiny little car together, and that's where you truly learn about each other. And I think that from that we just have become more comfortable with each other. We aren't afraid to tell each other we suck, even when the other person sucks.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah.
Because
Being very straightforward with each other, it really helps progress the music, because we're not going to sit around and try to fix this arrangement that's not working. We're going to be like, hey, that's not working, and then we can progress.
On the new album, there's a song called Ships and Cars that I had this whole idea in my head where it was going to be this kind of folky thing that would sort of shift and go all over the place, and I tried to show it to them, and they
shot it down.
They shot it down. They shot it down big time, and it sort of morphed into what Ships and Cars is today, which is sort of this weird. I don't know what to call it. It sounds like it's Liberty Hawk Collective. It sounds like Liberty Hawk Collective. That's the only way I can describe it. But yeah, it's just sort of that give and take has really developed a lot. I know personally, as a person, I have grown a lot. I grew up in suburbia I don't know if I'd call it sheltered, but I sort of lived a quiet life, and being in a band, there's no such thing as being quiet. You have to go out and do what you do, and I feel like I at least have grown and changed a lot just from being in this experience and just having to be in a lot of situations that otherwise I probably never would end up being in.
I think we work as a band because we groove. I think that's the best way to put it. We are tight, and we've gotten more tight as we've played together more and more. And oftentimes what happens is we'll pull out a new song and we'll show it to the rest of the people in the band, and we'll just pick up on it, within minutes. And that's why it works.
And I think that really speaks to the amount of musicianship between the three of us. We all have been playing forever, and we played in jazz band and concert band and done the whole choir thing and all that. So we just pick up on that stuff pretty well.
Yep, it all just comes together. Just really, it always amazes me. I couldn't sit down with any other group of musicians and do the kind of thing that we do in 30 minutes. It would be impossible for us to do something like we will be practicing, and then randomly as we're going into a next section, I'll say we're going to do this part as a reggae, and then we just play a part as a reggae, and it just happens instantaneously. We all just know the groove. We all just understand that intrinsically. So. And
I think that is because we all listen to a lot of music.
Yes,
that too.
We are just familiar with music. Music is something that we are familiar with, and therefore we can do it. We all listen to a lot of different music, and I think that really helps in trying to play with other people, as we're just more comfortable with it, and different grooves and grooving with each other, and it's just awesome. I would say that the band probably disagrees on arrangement, probably the most, but we don't have a lot of disagreements.
Sometimes we have little qualms about how we publicize ourselves.
Yeah, but we tend to settle them pretty quickly. I mean, it's usually just okay, what do we want to use for our t-shirt design? What do we want to use for our profile picture? That kind of stuff that we go back and forth on, but
we compromise easily.
Yes. Yeah, it works out. We've gotten mad about things before. During the first album, me and Cameron had a period of time where we were very in each other's
aggressive.
face.
We were stressed out. I think creating the first album was very stressful. We were rushing it, and it just created a lot of tension in the band. So that wasn't fun, but we never thought about breaking up because we knew it was just a stressful time. there was class on top of trying to record the album, and it just made for a high tension area, especially in the small space that is the recording studio.
But it's getting better. Like we push each other to become better people. So
Because any disagreement that we have, any issue that we have, really, at the end of the day, there's no one in the world I'd rather be making music with than the two guys who are next to me right now. So that's how I see it. That's how I see it through. I know. At the end of the day, it's just that's what I want. That's what I want to do is just go down and play with them again.
To get over some of these disagreements, I wouldn't necessarily say that physical fighting was the ultimate way that we
all right,
fixed
but
all
there
the problems.
was one time that Cameron jokingly like tried to like kill me, and I may have punched him in the face. I don't know.
It got a little
Wasn't
heavy
there for that
because
one.
I was going into just mess around. It got a little bit too heated between us, but that's fine. That
That's
wasn't really a real disagreement.
No, that
we
was more
had.
just
That was
like-
just horseplay.
In terms of like
Strong horseplay.
yeah, in terms of the album, yeah, we
It
would,
was a lot of
I
compromise.
would- yeah,
we would
at-
fight a lot, like verbally. I think like especially towards the end of the album, like we were getting pretty like
At a certain point, we had
spaggy,
to
I guess.
accept that like it wasn't going to be everything we wanted it to be, and we just had to be okay with that. And at near the end of the process, we were already talking about what we're going to do for our next album. Our next album, we're going to do this and that and all that. There's a really great video from Ira Glass where he talks about how there's your taste and your ability never match up, and I think that was the big problem going into the first album. I think that we've sort of caught up at this point, but we still got a long way to go. But in the new process, we space it out and we like what we do more. That's where a lot of that comes from.
I think being part of a band really affects, our different skills in life. Life skills, I think, are something that we develop a lot. When I've mentioned time management, and this is a good practice in that, and it's a good practice in business and in networking.
Networking for sure. When I came to college, I wasn't very good at talking to other people, just because I don't know, I'm just a nervous kid. But through working with the band, I've met a lot of people, and that's really what helps out the most. Is people like to help people in the music industry. So if you can meet the right people, it will definitely help you out.
Mm-hmm. I'm closer to these two than I am to pretty much anyone else in the world, and that's something that I wouldn't trade for anything. And I know I'm being really sappy today, but like it's true. I've become such a more full person just through all the musical experience all the experiences that I've had because of music, because of this band. I've had a lot of just really exciting things that I don't think I would have if I'd been in any other environment. If I hadn't been pushed into this environment, I probably wouldn't have had anything near as exciting as this would have ever happened to me, for sure. And I love it.
Let's hear. Last year, Brett and I lived on the same floor. We lived on second floor Liberty.
Chase lived on third floor.
I lived on third floor, and I always sort of felt like I was out of the loop. Like I would come down multiple times during the day, especially on Saturdays. I just would come down and see what was going on because I was always worried I was missing out on something that was going on. And I would always, when the very nexus of Liberty Hall Collective was the jams that would go on in the lounge occasionally, the acoustic jams that would go on, and I would listen from my door to see if I could hear through the stairwell downstairs to see if I could hear any acoustic guitars, and then I'd grab mine and run downstairs and try to join in.
This year, we all live on the same floor, and we're
neighbors.
actually live in the same room.
We literally are neighbors, so like So like if Brett has a song idea and needs to work something out, you can just come and knock on the door, and then
He's
we can
awesome
work
in
on it.
our room.
Yeah.
Yep.
He has a chair in our room. It's his chair.
It's
It's his chair. We
My
put his name
spot,
on it
too.
at one point.
Yeah. You can even knock on the wall too.
Yep.
Sometimes
Yeah.
we just
We
do
have
that.
we have drum battles through
We
walls
get
every
too
now and then.
lazy to actually
We're
walk
children. Oh
over
my
it.
god.
We're children. That's
It's
okay.
true.
We're
That's
not
all right.
children.
That's all right. Living next to each other is more of a convenience than a thing. I can always, than a problem. I can always tell, for example, if Brett's back, I can hear the door open and close. If he's off somewhere, I can hear the door open and close. And usually the door will open again, and then I can hear his knock before 3 quick knocks.
It's kind of stalkerish.
Always, yeah,
It's
exactly.
whatever.
I like to know where people are. No shame in that. A little bit of shame in that. Whatever.
There's a bit of shame in that. That's all right.
It's all right. I just add more to the stalker thing the more we talk about it. But sometimes I get sit in the room and Brett will have his amp on and I can hear him playing the guitar, and I'll come next door and be like, I like that. Keep playing that. Do that more. And that's how that works out. It's like instant feedback, and I think that happens like between the two of us too. Like Cameron will start playing something, or I'll start playing something, and there's this like instant feedback, and that's another thing that's really fun to have.
One of my favorite memories, and this is, okay, we played in Decorah. We played just off of the Luther College campus at a house that they called the campground.
Tiny little basement.
And there's just graffiti on all the walls, and it was crazy.
We played next to a broken
tiles.
window. We played next to a window that had been smashed at
And
the last
this
show.
room was stuffed with people.
Like 60 people in this tiny little room.
There was no room to move at all. This space that we are occupying right now is the space we had to play in.
With a drum set, 2 amps, and microphones. It was pretty packed.
It was, I mean, college parties. It was like your stereotypical movie college party. They were passing around the whiskey and whatnot around the audience and stuff while we were performing. It was crazy, but it wasn't actually until after the show. We're walking from my truck, and we've got our stuff, and we get into the dorm and we put our stuff down. We go out to the lobby of the dorm, and I pass these two $1 or $2 from the pay that we got for the show to get something from the vending machine. And we're just sitting in the lobby of this dorm, and at that moment I'm like, we're in a band. That was the most I ever felt like we were in a band. Was just sitting there in this dorm lobby, eating
Sweaty,
vending machine
tired.
food.
Yeah, just all sorts of interesting things went on that night.
Decorah was a great night, for sure.
I think that was a good memory for all of us. But yeah, I think my favorite memory would be the first show we played, because we were all just really excited after that for the rest of our time as a band. And yeah, I remember like we got back to the dorm after the show and we had a bunch of like just messages like "Good job tonight."
We had a period of time where we all went home for the summer and we all worked on our own music. And once we got back to school, we started working on those new songs and tried to start getting those arranged. And we had one practice, I believe it was during Labor Day weekend. We had a practice, and during it, I had a song called "Standing Landing," and I had sort of had this idea of what it was going to sound like in my head. It was going to be very kind of straightforward, fun, like kind of sounded like Bleachers or Fun. And we started playing it, and then this completely different thing happened. It was just a completely different sound than I'd been expecting. And the first time we ran through that song all the way, it hit the chorus, and I remember just being the happiest to be a musician and being the happiest to be alive that I think I'd ever been up to that point. It was just it was a very cathartic experience, and that song's very cathartic to play still. So that's just getting to have something that was like a mold, that was just like, it was just like clay. It was just a form of a song, and then through these guys and through just being in an environment with music, it just sort of became this gorgeous piece that we have today that is Standing Landing. What's really cool about Liberty Hall Collective is that we all play all the instruments, and we split that up, and depending on the song we play a different instrument. So That's one thing that makes us really, I think, unique in the gamut of pop rock bands from Iowa.
One great thing, a lot of fun playing with these guys is if you're bored on an instrument, you're just like, here, let's switch. So
We all contribute different lyrics. We write, and each one of us writes our own material. We all come together, collaborate.
There's a flavor to each of our different styles of songwriting, but then it all sort of comes together, and with the way we work the songs together sort of makes it an amalgamation of all of our different styles.
well, we all have different influences.
My biggest influences are pop punk, modern pop at the moment, and then, I don't know, hard rock and that kind of stuff. So like, I'd say that's what makes my writing more unique.
I think one of the defining features of the band is that we sort of, we all have the different styles. Personally, my style is sort of more all over the place, depending on what I'm from week to week. I'm listening to something different, a completely different genre of music, and it's evident in my writing and what a given song sounds like. You can usually trace it back to a specific source. It all kind of comes together at the end to make it sort of, it all sounds like Liberty Hall Collective. And I think that's what's most important at the end of the day. Our music is like really hard to describe. And I know like that's a really pretentious thing to say, but like song by song, it sounds like different artists. The only thing that ties it together is like our voices.
Yeah, we jump around a lot.
And that's one of the, I guess you could say, advantages of having three different, composers, is that when we write all this different music, it does sound completely different, but then it comes together and we arrange it and it becomes Liberty Hall Collective.
We just explore it as much as we can because we all love all music. It's just a general love of music is why we do and why it sounds the way it does.
Yeah, I think we just really enjoy being different. We were talking about this on the way back actually from the show, that we like just surprising people in the audience a lot. So
that's what we know we've done well when people start cheering, like just in spite of themselves, like they didn't expect something to happen. That's what I strive for in my writing and in performing and practicing and everything. That's what to surprise.
LHC! All right. This is you guys might know this one. If you do, go ahead and sing it.
With three different writers, we're all saying three different stories, and with 4 or 5 songs, an album each, it's 4 or 5 different stories. There's just so many different stories that we like to tell with music, and it's just never going in the same direction for any of us.
it's just like life. I mean, it's pretty much just a bunch of different stories smashed into one thing.
And if we end up having similar experiences, then that's how everything kind of lines up somehow.
Yeah, and I think like in terms of the first album, there wasn't much of a theme, but since we've grown as a band, it seems like there's more of a theme coming together. With my music, I like to write things that have happened in my personal life. It's kind of a way of like venting and working through problems for me. And if somebody out there is working through that same problem, I would love if they listen to my music and were like, that's cool. I like that.
I like to write stories, even whether I do it on purpose or not. My songs sort of end up having a plot line. I become interested in like a character and the experiences of that character. I think between all of us, everything sort of ends up back at relationships. Not necessarily romantic relationships, but just how people relate to one another is a thing that just sort of seems to keep coming up. It's the foundation of human communication and of songwriting in general. It's just the way what people say to each other and how they say it.
Life is a set of interactions. Life is just relationships and how you deal with them.
Our biggest challenge when we started out was Iowa. The fact that Iowa is the way it is was the biggest challenge because
especially in this area.
Especially in this area.
To get to any realistic music scene, you've got to go Des Moines, Omaha, and that's about
all 2+ hours here.
Yeah,
from here.
so like, you really don't get too much too many bands around here.
Mhm.
Every once in a while, a show will go on, but that's like really far and few and far. Yeah, what Chase said.
Chase said, right? But yeah, that was. But as time has gone on, we've sort of figured that out. We've sort of learned how to work the scene and learned what people like that have made it possible for us to be successful.
Yeah, we've had a lot of help in terms of where we get to play, like KBVU, a lot of people from campus, just a lot of help. So
Much appreciated.
yeah, I would say every time we play in a different city is another big opportunity because we just reach a new group of people. Like when we played in Decorah, those people would never have made it to a Des Moines show, and now they know who we are. So I think anytime we play a new place is going to be a big opportunity for us.
I see recording as a big opportunity because not everyone's ever going to be able to make it to our show. There's just not enough time in the day. There's too many miles between cities. It just doesn't make a lot of sense that everyone will be able to be at everything all the time. The level of professionalism that we represent here.
It is in rice.
It requires
Push it straight.
How many Liberty Hall Collective members does it take to plug in a mic cable? But releasing an album online, you can really get that to as many people as possible, which is why we're working so feverishly on getting this new material out because we want to show our best side to the public so that we can therefore and from that experience we can get more shows, get more acclaim in the Midwest, and then hopefully achieve world domination.
Yes, always with the world domination.
Always.
And it's a really beautiful evening here. I'm really excited to be here, open up for Radar versus Wolf and No Good Deed. It's going to be a cool show. It's worth.
I guess our fan base is best described as, I don't know, like our friends became fans and then our fans become our friends. So
Yeah,
like
that's a good way of putting it.
yeah, pretty much everyone that comes out to shows we know, or if we don't know, we end up knowing by the end of the night, and that's a great feeling. I think
That fan interaction is awesome.
It's vital to us. It's vital to us. Makes us know we're doing a good job. Is when people tell us that they enjoy our work.
Anybody wants to come to the front area, that'd be cool. We can't see your beautiful faces, so cool.
I think we all have differing goals, and I mean, like, we would all like to see some sort of success, I think, but deep down, this is a very good learning experience for all of us, because I know I'm going to take a lot of what I learned from this band and apply it to the rest of my career in terms of music.
It's really just sort of like a really 4-year-long project on starting a band, marketing a band, efficiently recording and working, and I think that's how I'm sort of started to see it. And obviously I want to make music, and I want to be able to just be able to. I thrive on attention, so that sort of selfishly, I want to be on stage and have people tell me how great I am. But on top of that, I love just getting to share what I love to do with people, and I think that's my ultimate goal. And I think our ultimate goal altogether would be just to share our music and our love of music with everyone we possibly can.
It's about making and producing music and just giving it to people to enjoy. We want people to enjoy what we make, because that's really what it's for. It's not for us to get compliments, and it's not for us to put our work out there for us. It's for other people to enjoy it, and that's why we do it. We love the compliments, but not because it makes us feel good, because we're awesome or anything like that. It's because we know that they are enjoying themselves, and that's what's awesome about making music. We all kind of have different post-graduation plans. I mean, they could, in theory, both end up in the same place because they're going for music production. But I plan on becoming a teacher, so I'll be busy with that. So, I mean, I don't know how much the band will be doing after graduation. It would be fun to get back together after graduation and play some more, but I don't know how often that would be.
Liberty Hall Collective or not, I want to keep playing with these guys in whatever capacity I can. I'm comfortable with them. I know like what to expect from them when I play with them. And I can see playing with these guys in one capacity or another. If I ever end up going on tour, like just with my own project or whatever, then these guys are the first two musicians I'm gonna call for it.
In the off chance that we do end up doing something to where we have a decent amount of fan base, like enough so that we could tour, or if we ended up getting big or whatever, I think we would stick around a little bit longer, and that would be really depending on where we're at by the end of graduation.
Our dream is a tour. A tour would be the
That's
greatest.
one thing, yeah, we definitely hinted at. Like, even if we aren't super big, just like if it were just like our last, big bang, just after graduation, doing like a summer tour. Really, it's like a farewell tour type thing. If that's how it ends up happening, if we weren't able to play together, at least not for a while, it would be fun to do something like that. But yeah, if we were to become, superstars, then that'd be cool too.
And post-graduation would probably be a thing. If it keeps going like this and we're where we're at right now ish, kind of, that's probably what it'll be, I guess.
So I'm also going to take this opportunity to say thank you guys so much. I'm going to take this opportunity also to introduce the lovely musicians that stand around me. To my left, all the way from Nakusa, Wisconsin, Mr. Brett Congrass, ladies and gentlemen, playing bass, guitar, drums, vocals, many things throughout the night. We appreciate him a lot. Behind me, close native, Indianola, Iowa. You know it. The impeccable Cameron Warden, impeccably dressed as always, playing bass, guitar, drums, vocals, many things throughout the night. Last, certainly least, me, myself, Chase Harrison, all the way from Ankeny, Iowa. The rumors are true. Thank you guys so much. I can do bass, guitar, drums, many things throughout the night. We really appreciate everything. We got a couple more songs for you, but just thank you guys so much.
We are Liberty Hawk Collective.
What will you remember us by? These are the nights we write songs about. These are the days that float in and out of our minds when the stories have faded out. What will you remember us by? These are the nights we write songs about. These are the days that float in and out of our minds when the stories have faded out. What will you remember us by? These are the nights we write songs about. These are the days that float in and out of our minds when the stories have faded out. What will you remember us by?
Thank you guys so much.